You set a goal to save $1,000. It's not a crazy amount, not just $1,000. You tell yourself, I can do this. I'll cut back on coffee, skip a few dinners out, and I'll have it saved in 3 months. But then your car needs new tires. $400. Then your dog gets sick. $250 vet bill. Then it's your best friend's birthday and you can't show up empty-handed. $75. 3 months go by and you check your savings account. $180. You've barely made a dent and you feel like a failure. Meanwhile, your coworker casually mentions she just hit $15,000 in savings and you're thinking, how is that even possible? I can't even save $1,000. Here's what nobody tells you. She's not better with money than you are. She's not more disciplined. She doesn't make dramatically more money. What she has that you don't is momentum. And that momentum started with the exact same struggle you're facing right now. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly why saving that first $1,000 feels impossible, why it's actually the hardest money you'll ever save, and most importantly, how to break through that barrier. So the next $10,000 becomes almost automatic. My name is Max, and I want to help you learn how to make your money work more for you in your life. Today, I'm going to explain the psychological and mathematical forces that make saving your first $1,000 brutally difficult, and I'll give you a proven system to overcome these obstacles and build unstoppable savings momentum. So let's get started, and please make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Here's the thing. When you're starting from zero savings, you're not just fighting against a dollar amount. You're fighting against an entire system of psychological, behavioral, and structural obstacles that are specifically designed to keep you broke. According to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Household Economics, approximately 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or savings. That's not a small percentage. That's over 1/3 of the country living on the absolute edge of financial disaster. But here's what makes this even more frustrating. It's not because people don't want to save. A survey by Bankrate found that 71% of Americans say saving money is a top priority, but only 39% actually have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. There's a massive gap between intention and action. So what's going on? Why is it so hard to save that first $1,000? The answer comes down to 3 major forces working against you: psychological friction, structural barriers, and the compounding effect of zero momentum. Let me break each one down because understanding these forces is the first step to defeating them. Okay, let's start with the psychological friction because this is the part most people don't understand. When you have zero or near zero savings, every dollar you try to save feels like a sacrifice. You're taking money away from something tangible and immediate, food you can eat, entertainment you can enjoy, clothes you can wear, and putting it towards something abstract and future-oriented. Behavioral economists call this present bias. Our brains are wired to value immediate rewards far more than future benefits. A study by researchers at MIT found that people discount the value of future money by approximately 30 to 50%. In other words, $100 today feels more valuable to your brain than $150 in 6 months, even though objectively, $150 is better. When you're saving your first $1,000, you're fighting this bias every single day. Every time you skip eating out to save $30, your brain is screaming, "This is stupid. We could have tacos right now." The future benefit, having $1,000 saved 3 months from now, feels distant and abstract. Additionally, there's what psychologists call goal gradient effect. Research shows that people are more motivated as they get closer to completing a goal. When you're at $50 out of $1,000, you're only 5% of the way there. The finish line seems impossibly far. But when you're at $9,500 out of $10,000, you're 95% there. The momentum is completely different. This is why saving your first $1,000 feels like pushing a boulder uphill, while saving from $10,000 to $11,000 feels easy. You're already in motion. The psychological experience is completely different even though the dollar amount saved is larger. Also, there's the issue of financial self-efficacy. Your belief in your ability to manage money and achieve financial goals. When you've never successfully saved before, you don't have evidence that you can do it. Every setback reinforces the belief that I'm just not good with money. But once you've saved $1,000, then $5,000, then $10,000, you have proof. your financial self-efficacy is high, which makes continuing to save feel natural instead of impossible. The second major force working against you is structural barriers. And this is where I get genuinely frustrated, because the financial system is literally designed to keep people who are just starting out in a cycle of poverty. When you have zero savings, everything costs more, and financial emergencies are more devastating. Let me show you what I mean with real examples. Banking fees. If you have less than $1,000 in your checking account, many banks charge you $12 to $15 per month in maintenance fees. That's $144 to $180 per year just for being poor. But if you maintain a minimum balance of $1,500 or more, the fee is waived. The people who can least afford fees are the ones getting charged. Overdraft fees. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Americans pay over $15 billion per year in overdraft fees. And a small percentage of customers, those living paycheck to paycheck, pay the majority of these fees. One overdraft can cost $35. Two in a month, $70. That's money that could have gone to savings, credit access, and interest rates. When you have no savings, you have no buffer for emergencies, which means you use credit cards. But, if your credit score is low because you've struggled financially, you're getting charged 24% interest instead of 15%. You're paying a poverty premium. No bulk buying. People with money can buy the 24-pack of toilet paper at Costco for 60 cents per roll. People living paycheck to paycheck buy the 4-pack at the corner store for 20 cents per roll. Everything costs more when you can't afford to buy in bulk or wait for sales. Seriously, there's a concept called the Boots Theory of Poverty from author Terry Pratchett. A poor person buys cheap boots for $50 that last 1 year. A rich person buys quality boots for $150 that last 10 years. Over 10 years, the poor person spends $500 while the rich person spends $150. Being poor is expensive. When you're trying to save your first $1,000, you're fighting against all of these structural disadvantages. But once you have $1,000, then $5,000, then $10,000, these barriers start to disappear. You qualify for fee-free banking. You can handle emergencies without overdrafts. You can buy in bulk. You can afford quality items that last longer. Money starts working for you instead of against you. The third force, and this is the one that explains the title of this video, is the compounding effect of zero momentum. When you're at zero savings, you have zero momentum. Every dollar you save is pure effort with no help from compounding, interest, or psychological momentum. But here's where it gets really interesting. Once you have money saved, that money starts working for you in multiple ways simultaneously. Mathematical compounding. Let's say you put your first $1,000 in a high-yield savings account, earning 4.5% interest. In the first month, you earn about $3.75 in interest. That's not much, right? But now you have $1,003.75. Next month, you earn interest on that larger amount. This is compound interest, and while it feels insignificant at $1,000, it becomes powerful as the balance grows. If you have $10,000 in that same account, you're earning about $37.50 per month in interest. That's $450 per year in free money just for having money. It's not enough to live on, but it's enough to cover small emergencies or to add to your savings without any additional effort from you. Psychological compounding. This is huge. When you see your savings balance at $5,000 and it's growing by $400 per month from your contributions, plus $18 in interest, it creates motivation. You don't want to break that streak. You don't want to see the number go down. This psychological momentum makes it easier to keep saving. Research in behavioral psychology shows that people are more likely to continue behaviors that show visible progress. When your savings account jumps from $50 to $100, it's easy to dismiss. But when it jumps from $8,500 to $9,000, you think, I'm so close to $10,000, I'm not stopping now. Opportunity compounding. Once you have a solid emergency fund of $3,000 to $5,000, you can start taking calculated financial risks that accelerate wealth building. You can invest in your education. You can start a side business. You can negotiate harder at work because you're not desperate. These opportunities weren't available when you had $0 saved. Here's what most people don't realize. The effort required to save your first $1,000 is enormous because you're starting from a complete standstill with zero momentum and maximum resistance. But the effort required to go from $10,000 to $11,000 is minimal because you have massive momentum and minimal resistance. It's like pushing a car. Getting it moving from a dead stop requires tremendous force, but once it's rolling at 20 miles per hour, keeping it moving at that speed takes relatively little effort. Additionally, there's a psychological trap that makes saving the first $1,000 even harder, comparing yourself to people who are already in motion. You see someone with $20,000 saved and think, they're so much better with money than I am. But you don't see the 2 years they struggled to save their first $2,000. You don't see the nights they stayed home instead of going out. You don't see the sacrifices they made when they were exactly where you are now. Social media makes this worse. People post about their wins. Just hit $50,000 in savings. But they don't post about the years of grinding it took to get there. This creates a distorted perception that makes you feel like you're failing when you're actually just at the beginning. Look, everyone who has significant savings started at zero. Everyone struggled with that first $1,000. The difference between people who have money saved and people who don't isn't talent or luck. It's that the people who succeeded pushed through the hardest part. They saved the first $1,000 despite it being brutally difficult, and then momentum took over. How to break through and save your first $1,000. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you save that first $1,000 when everything we've talked about is working against you? Here's the system that works. Step 1. Make the goal smaller and more immediate. Don't focus on $1,000. Focus on $100 first, then $250, then $500, then $1,000. Breaking the goal into smaller chunks triggers that goal gradient effect earlier. When you hit $100, celebrate it. You've proven you can save. Now do it again. Step 2. Automate everything to remove willpower from the equation. Set up an automatic transfer of even $25 per week from checking to savings the day after you get paid. You're never going to feel like saving. Willpower is a finite resource. Automation removes the decision entirely. Step 3. Create a separate savings account you cannot easily access. Open a high-yield savings account at a different bank from your checking account. No debit card, no easy transfers. Make it slightly inconvenient to withdraw money. This creates friction that protects you from impulse spending from your savings. Step 4. Use the replace, don't restrict method. Don't think of saving as deprivation. Replace expensive habits with cheaper alternatives. Instead of I can't go to Starbucks anymore, think I'm making coffee at home and saving $120 per month. Instead of I can't eat out, think I'm meal prepping and saving $200 per month. The psychology is completely different. Step 5. Find quick wins to build momentum. Sell stuff you don't need on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp. Old electronics, clothes, furniture, whatever. If you can generate $300 in a weekend from selling stuff, you're already 30% to your $1,000 goal. That momentum is psychologically powerful. Step 6. Track your progress obsessively. Check your savings balance every few days. Watch the number grow. Put a chart on your wall. Make it visual and tangible. The more you see progress, the more motivated you'll be to continue. Step 7. Protect your first $1,000 ruthlessly. Once you hit $1,000, the temptation will be to spend it on something you want. Don't. Guard that $1,000 like it's the foundation of your entire financial future, because it is. This is the momentum you need to get to $5,000, then $10,000, then beyond. Now you might be thinking, Max, I literally have $40 in my account right now. I have bills due. I don't have anything to save. I hear you. If you're in true survival mode, your first priority is covering necessities. But even in that situation, can you find $10? Can you find $5? Start there. The amount is less important than starting the habit and building the belief that you can save. This is where the magic starts to happen. Once you hit $1,000, everything shifts. Going from $1,000 to $2,000 is easier than going from $0 to $1,000, because now you have proof that you can save. You've built the habit. You've created the systems. You have momentum. Going from $2,000 to $5,000 is even easier because now you have significant psychological motivation. You think, I've already saved $2,000. I'm not starting over. And going from $5,000 to $10,000, it almost feels automatic because all the forces that were working against you when you started are now working for you. Let me give you a real example. My friend Jessica started with $0 in savings at age 27. She made $48,000 per year and felt like she could never get ahead. She committed to saving her first $1,000, and it took her 7 months. 7 months of sacrifice, discipline, and setbacks. She almost gave up 3 times. But once she hit $1,000, something clicked. She kept going. It took her only 4 months to get from $1,000 to $2,000, then 5 months to get to $4,000, then 7 months to hit $7,000. Within 30 months total, she had $10,000 saved. Here's the key insight. The first 7 months got her $1,000. The next 23 months got her $9,000. Same person, same income, different momentum. That's what I mean when I say saving the first $1,000 is harder than the next $10,000. The difficulty isn't linear. It's exponential at the beginning and gets progressively easier as you build momentum. Also, there's something that happens when you save your first $1,000 that goes beyond the money itself. Your entire identity shifts. You go from being someone who can't save money to being someone who has money saved. You go from being financially fragile to having a buffer. You go from making decisions out of desperation to making decisions from stability. This confidence spills over into other areas of your financial life. You start negotiating for raises because you're not desperate. You start making better purchasing decisions because you have time to research and wait for deals. You start thinking long-term instead of just surviving week to week. According to research from the Financial Health Network, people who successfully save their first $1,000 to $2,000 are significantly more likely to continue building wealth compared to people who never reach that threshold. Why? Because they've proven to themselves that they can control their financial destiny. The belief becomes reality. Look, I'm not going to lie to you and say saving your first $1,000 is easy. It's not. It's one of the hardest financial challenges you'll ever face because you're fighting against psychology, structural disadvantages, and zero momentum all at the same time. But here's what I want you to understand. It's supposed to be hard. The fact that it's difficult doesn't mean you're doing something wrong or that you're bad with money. It means you're at the hardest part of the journey, the beginning. And once you push through this part, everything gets easier. Every person with $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 plus in savings faced the exact same struggle you're facing right now. The only difference is they didn't quit. They pushed through the first $1,000 and then momentum carried them forward. You can be that person. You can save your first $1,000. And once you do, the next $10,000 will feel almost effortless by comparison. So here's what I want you to do. Commit right now to saving your first $1,000. Set a timeline, maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, whatever is realistic for your situation. Set up the automatic transfer. Start selling stuff. Cut one unnecessary expense. Just start. And when you hit that $1,000, and you will, come back and tell me about it in the comments. I want to hear your story because your success will inspire someone else who's struggling right now. If this video helped you understand why saving feels so hard and gave you a roadmap to break through, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment and tell me, how much do you have saved right now? And when are you committing to hit $1,000? And remember, the first $1,000 is the hardest money you'll ever save, but it's also the most important. Start today. Thanks you for watching. Now go ahead and get started.